Welcome all my lovely goblins and ghouls of the internet. I am Hanyo, your demon cinephile. And the final episode, the final season of Stranger Things starts in a few days. So I was wanting to kind of bum rush on talking about the previous four seasons. I meant to start doing this like a couple days ago. My life schedules can just get really crazy sometimes. And also, I just kind of forgot that the month was progressing so fast for me. It just felt like November just started. It really just felt like November just started. But that's neither here nor there. I do want to briefly talk about season 1 of Stranger Things and just how much the show really still holds up. I mean, so many people nowadays want to bash on Stranger Things, which for good, legitimate reasons. The show has changed quality very, very differently, very, very weirdly compared to what it originally was, what it was originally supposed to be. And I understand why people don't like it. I still love the show in its entirety, even though it does a lot of things that I will criticize in the next few videos. But season 1 of Stranger Things is a nearly perfect season. Actually, no. So I'll actually scrub that. Season 1 of Stranger Things is a perfect season. Is one of the best seasons of television or best seasons of streaming ever. Even after all these years, it is near perfection. I really want to say. I'm not gonna harp on plot summaries because you know what Stranger Things is. If you want to click on this video, if you didn't know what Stranger Things is, even if you don't want to watch the show, you've probably been bombarded with memes or friends or family members telling you what Stranger Things are. So I'm not gonna harp on the plot, at least for season 1. I do want to talk about the individual elements that just make this show fantastic. Obviously, the first thing would have to be the kids and the whole cast in general, but really the kids, because if you're a film fan, TV fan, you know the stigma that most child actors are very, very bad, can be very horrendous. And it's not always a child's fault, because there are some good children actors, but children just can't fully get the same range of emotion or believability that an older actor can. But these four kids, because Will doesn't really have a lot to do with the season. The original 4 sets of kids are perfect. They feel believable. They feel like that kind of friendship you would have back in that day when they act dumb or silly. If it is that believable childishness, but you never look down on it. If they feel so real, they feel so believable. And even the more difficult emotions of being betrayed, of being scared, frightened, not really understanding what the hell is happening around them. They nail every little bit. I really do. If I had to pick my favorite character among the original 4, which I think this one would be from throughout the whole series, is Dustin. I love Dustin. The actor, he's so silly, but he knows when to be serious, when it needs to be. And I like he is the smart guy of the group. I mean, they're all nerds, but he is the one who's actually smart. He figures out how the compasses are kind of leading to the gate. He figures all these little things out. And he just feels like the smart guy of the group. And I like that. Mike and Dustin, they are the more normal kids of the group. I mean, besides just being into D&D and the AV club, I don't see why these kids would be bullied. I really don't see it. We'll see why. It's just a thing where growing up back then, It's different from growing up where I how I grew up. I don't know. I don't know. It just Nancy. I really like Nancy this season. I remember when I first watched this, I didn't really like Nancy. Not that I hated the character, it just I didn't really care for her subplot. But these last couple times rewatching it, I really do like it. I like how she is in this little weird phase where she is the I don't want to say know it all, but she is the good student. She is the academic. She wants to succeed in school. She wants to do something with her life, but she's also kind of being pulled towards Steve, who starts off as this very kind of party dude, kind of a frat douchebag kind of guy. Like he seems nice, but there's probably something sinister about him, and that all changes around what's it, episode 3 or episode 4 when Barb disappears. And so many people are like, why just I have some people who watch the show, they're like, why do you care about Barb? Why do people care about Barb so much? And I think it really hit me this time more than other times that she really cares about, well, not just because Barb is her friend, because the only reason why Barb got hurt, the reason why Barb got killed by the Demogorgon, because she was there with Nancy. If Nancy stuck to her word and they went home and went to Barb's place or wherever they were supposed to go, Barb wouldn't have died. If Barb wasn't at that little party where she didn't feel welcome or invited, she wouldn't waited outside. She wouldn't be a target for the Demogorgon. And I noticed that too. Like a lot of the people who die, especially in the first season, are very innocent people. I mean, Will, he didn't die, but he got kidnapped for just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Same thing with Benny, the guy who owns the diner. He seemed like a big gruff guy, but he was a softie in that kind of way. He just wanted to make sure Eleven was okay. He was playing with her, entertaining her, and he died doing the right thing. And same thing with, wasn't there another person who got killed? I can't think of it. But yeah, all the everyone who dies until like the last episode where it's all the agents who died, all people who die are just normal, innocent people who are just trying to help out. And I feel there's a lot more tragic there, because I love horror movies. I love horror in general, but there's the fun horror where you have all the asshole characters, you have all the shitty people who get killed, and that's fun because you can technically kind of root for the monster. You can root for the monster to do his thing. But here, you don't want to root for the Demogorgon. The Demogorgon, we're kind of going off characters right here, but the Demogorgon is that persistent threat. It is nothing but a wild animal that is hungry and is going to kill if it has the opportunity. And that kind of contradicts what we learned about in later seasons, which is kind of showing that this show was meant to be a one and done. There is no real hints to Vecna or the Mind Flayer in the first season, which is understandable, but also like with how big they make it, especially in season 4, you'd think there have been more hints if this was all prepared out. And the only time where you kind of get a hint of that is in the first episode where we meet the Demogorgon attacking Will, who hear those bell chimes that really shouldn't be there. And there's a part where the gate to the garage, or to the house, is just telekinetically unlocked from the inside. And watching that now, I have no idea how that happens. I just tapped the desk, probably made some loud noise. I'm not sure how that happens, just taking season 1 as itself, but if you connect it to later seasons, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, but I really do like the Demogorgon. It is, besides the really awesome design, I like how they do play it up as just an animal. It's just lurking in the woods. It's not really good. It's not really evil. It's just doing its thing. And the reason why it's so terrifying is because the fact that it can hide between dimensions, that you just don't know where it's going to strike. If it's just out in the open 24/7, people probably find it pretty easily. It's still pretty hard to kill it, but the people find it pretty easily. And let's go to Steve. I know I'm rambling incoherently, but this is just my thoughts on the season. I do want to talk about Steve real quick, because Steve, I think, was the biggest surprise, even back when I first watched it, because Stranger Things is very obviously kind of inspired by Stephen King and a lot of his works. And Stephen King, what is a staple in all Stephen King stories, good and bad? The bully. All Stephen King stories have a bully character. And it's not just the bully where he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna chuck a rock at your feet," or I'm gonna do this and that. You know, it's always the psychotic bully. The psychotic bully who's going to kill and assault people for no freaking reason. And sometimes he'll write a good backstory for them, but it's like, no, they're just evil for evil's sake. And you think that's what Steve is going to be. And his friends are kind of like that. We don't get too much on backstory on them. They're just his little cronies. But as the season goes on, we really do see Steve as just like he's just a really nice guy. He is just a sweet guy. He's misguided, a little jealous, a little misguided in places, but he's just a good guy. I mean, all those little things he does to cheer Nancy up. She tells him to back off on certain things. He backs off. Even the scene where he breaks Jonathan's camera. Like, people I like, oh, he's kind of being an asshole. Like, no, I think that's the perfect reaction when you find out someone was taking pictures of your house and your girlfriend. I mean, I'm surprised. Like, I think it would have been like if Steve beat him up, like really like lay it in on him. Like, no, yeah, Steve would be the asshole in that regard in a way, but no, just breaks his cameras. Like, yeah, just leave it at that. And when Steve does go over the board too much, and was in episode 7, or was it episode 7 or episode 6? Because there's only 7 episodes in season 1, and he kind of immediately puts it together like, yeah, I was in the wrong. I was the asshole. I'm listening to my douchebag friends, and he goes to the theater to clean up the mess. He goes to Jonathan's house that night to apologize. Steve is just a great guy. I love Steve. I wish I know someone like him in high school. Would have been, no, probably wouldn't have been friends at all. I wouldn't talk to him at all. I hated high school. Jonathan doesn't really get a character arc this season. I mean, I guess he does start to show a very meek, kind of timid. And throughout the season, he is kind of learning to be a little more assertive, to stand up to himself, stand up to his father, to his bullies, which was Steve at the time, to stand up to the Demogorgon. But his personal struggle of trying to deal with his brother's supposed death and learning that his mom isn't as crazy, I like that. I like how he is slowly putting the pieces together with Nancy, and without Nancy, those pieces wouldn't have played out. And it is kind of like a whole thing with the first season that all our main cast are separated into all these side stories, but they don't come together to like the last 2 episodes. And once they put all the information together, they immediately realize what they have to do, how to save the day. And I love it. How we have all these different stories and they connect in these ways that we haven't seen yet, or how the characters just don't know how they connect. Because you see that a lot of TV shows, especially the ones they used to do it on networks, where they give a show like 24 episodes, 22 episodes a season, and you have all these plot threads that seem to go nowhere, and they don't connect to any of the other main characters except for like 1 or 2. But I like this. I like how they're all a part of the same story, but the audience kind of knows it, but the characters don't know it. And I like how they all connect eventually. Hopper and Joyce are really, really great. David Harbour and freak, I can't think her name right now. Winona Ryder. Winona Ryder. Awesome. Freaking awesome. And I really, they are just perfection and everything they want to be. They are the showstoppers for the season and probably other seasons, but as I said, I want to go get to those when I can. But David, he perfectly plays Hopper as this kind of this old drunk, kind of a druggie. Like he is just here just to be the guardian of this little town. He's not here to care about people. He's not here to make a family. He's just here to kind of just live some of a easy life. And as we learn more about why he kind of came back to town, why he's like this with his daughter, his ex-wife, you feel for the man. It's so sad and tragic. But I like how even the first episode where, yeah, he is this kind of a asshole, doesn't care about anything, but when he sees that, oh shit, there's something's here, that Will may have actually been killed or abducted, he is throwing himself into the case. And as he throws himself more into the case, you see him start to care. You see him becoming more of the person he used to be. You see him really going out of his way to help Joyce because he does not want her to go through the pain he went through. And Joyce, Winona Ryder, is fantastic. I know I said that word, I'm repeating that word a couple of times, but she is fantastic. And every little scene, because they sell her as kind of like the unhinged mother, and she really is kind of like the unhinged mother a lot. She really reminds me a lot of Mama Hanyo in certain scenes, especially just how much she loves her boys and how much she will go off her way to defend them and uplift them. And that, I don't want to talk a lot about that, but it does connect. I can relate to that a lot. And it tugged at my heart a bit. It always does when we see Joyce and how much she cares about her boys. But I have not mentioned 11. Amazing 11. Millie Bobby Brown was great in this role, especially in this first season, portraying this confused, lonely girl who has gotten breadcrumbs of love and sympathy her entire life, trained to be a weapon. And when she meets when she first meets Benny, like, she's off guard. She doesn't know what to do, she doesn't know what to say. And then when you see her begin to smile, it's ripped from her. Then she meets these boys, and they show her what friendship is. They show her what love is. And there's this very sweet, beautiful story. Even the times where, like, when, not Luke, was it Lucas? Lucas, when he is obviously getting mad, like, she's hiding something, she's a weirdo, where it's like, yeah, he's right to think that. I would probably think that too in this situation, but you're also like, Lucas, please shut up. You can tell this girl's been through a lot. I know you can't tell because you're just like him, but I can tell. Shut up. But she does play the vulnerable, powerful, innocent perfectly. And I really do love how they portray her powers in this first season, where, yeah, she is very, very powerful. She's not exactly like Jean Grey or the boys from Chronicle, but she can do a lot of incredible things. It just takes a whole bunch out of her. And I remember watching back, I would love to see how her powers develop, but they more or less keep her I know I should talk about only this season, but I know in later season, they more or less keep her powers the same. They don't really go crazy overboard with her abilities. And I don't know if that's for the good or for the better. The villains. Well, we already talked about, of course, the Demogorgon, but Dr. Brenner and Hawkins' lab are the perfect shady secret society government, what knows, what whack jobs that we've seen in hundreds and hundreds of other movies. And well, they definitely have there's nothing really new or fascinating the Duffer Brothers do with this concept. I say it is excellent execution because they're kept in the shadows a lot, only getting snippets of them surveilling the town and snippets of their flashbacks with Eleven. So we get just a right amount of them so we can feel terrified of them and not exactly know what their big secrets and goals are. Dr. Brenner, the actor who played Dr. Brenner, I can't remember his name, but I love how he is kind of portrayed as a semi-emotional husk who only gives Eleven what she needs so she'd be useful to him. But then at the very end of the season, where he finally gets his hands back on her, he's like, 11, I'm here. Papa's here. We're going to take you to get well again. And the actor, he puts a lot of emotion into it, where it's like, you're an evil, manipulative human being, but he really, at least the part how I thought, he actually does think of Eleven as kind of like his daughter, at least in some way or form. Like, he thinks he loves her, but he it's not really love. And I like the little thing, like there's some humanity there. It's just very, very buried. What else do we need to talk about for this first season? A part of me wants to talk about the cinematography and the look of the show, which I didn't really take any notes, so it was kind of hard. I wasn't really pay attention to the shots like that because I had to kind of watch the show while doing other things. But I really do want to talk about the design for like the upside down, how that looks so far. It is portrayed as this very alien mirror world to the real reality. And I like that. I love the little slimy tentacles that we get. And the design of the Demogorgon is both familiar and very alien at the same time. Hawkins, we don't really, do we get a good enough landscape of Hawkins to say like, oh, it's perfectly designed? I don't know. It's just like a small kind of town. But the Hawkins lab, I love the look of that. I love the look of the plain sterilized room, which is a perfect showcase to Eleven because she's always in the hospital gown. So she looks like she's a part of this test, and she looks like she's sickly. She's probably technically not. And then got all the suits, all these big black government suits, which contrast to the white. I love that. Oh yeah, horror. I mean, I am technically a horror channel, at least I try to be. What are the best horror moments of the show? Definitely the opening. The opening, it was a really cool, cold opening of those government figures getting killed by the Demogorgon. Though a small part of me still thinks that the opening of the show probably would have been stronger without that, because we wouldn't really know at the time that there's a threat coming to attack Will. You know what I mean? Besides that, there's so many good ones, but I think the scariest moment, at least the more horrifying moment, has to be when Eleven is in the bathtub. She's doing the psychic bath thing in the school, and she finds Barb. And Barb's body is perfectly nasty. Is like half eaten, decomposing. But I think what sells the horror is Eleven and her reaction. where she's just screaming, "Gone, gone, gone, gone," because she wouldn't know whether her death probably is. She just says she's gone. She's no longer here. And how she's screaming it in pain and confusion. Millie Bobby Brown sells it. Connect that with the black drop of, I guess, in her mental space, and the characters reacting to her saying this sells the horror. Also, yeah, the horror was just not the upside down, but like the mindscape, that little in between dimension 11 enters when she's surveilling people. I guess we were scrying, right? Because in like fantasy, that's a spell you would use to try to look at people from a distance. So I guess she's scrying them. Whenever she's scrying, she enters that black liquid void, and it's perfect. I love it, even to this day. But yeah, season 1 of Stranger Things, I feel like I said nothing a lot at the same time. It is just a perfect season, perfect low pace. Every mystery is amazing. I'm not exactly sure why, but I remember the scene where Hopper, he's figured out that the Will is alive, that the body in the morgue is just a dummy. And he's interrogating the guy who found the body. He's beating him up in the wall. And then Hopper looks over his shoulder. He sees the black van watching them driving away. And David Harbour's, like, the fear in his voice was like, "Who was that? Who was that? Who are you working for?" It's perfection. Everything in the season is just really perfection. Only thing I think I could say this kind of bad, or at least not bad, just like didn't really need to be there, would be the bully characters. Because I know you sell the fact that the boys are kind of losers already. You know, I don't know. I wouldn't say they're losers, but then this is the 80s. I didn't grow up in the 80s. But I feel like those characters kind of are a little bit of a distraction. It's a cool personal journey for Mike, Dustin, and Lucas, but like if you cut that part out, it really wouldn't change much. No, I guess it would, because Hopper wouldn't realize that 11 is with the boys, because the boy mom, just goes to the police like, "This person hurt my sweet little angel that would do nothing wrong." And he has to tell them that they're with a bald girl who has powers. All right, that part connects. But yeah, season 1 Stranger Things, it's just a perfect season altogether. I really should have written some notes to make this a little bit better. Don't have the time for that. Might do a nice big proper video later in the future, but for now, I have been your Hanyo, your Demacinovile. If you made it this far, please type in Stranger Things in the chat or the comments, so I know that you made it. And what was your favorite part of season 1 altogether? Comment below, let me know. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.